Welcome back to ABA League magazine. Igokea pulled the biggest upset, defeating the reigning champion in Pionir. After the 10th round, Budućnost is back in the lead. We answer the questions regarding ABA League team's participation in the EuroLeague. And finally, top 5 plays from this round with some amazing dunks. Predrag Samardžićki is no longer a member of Megalex. The experienced Macedonian international signed an open contract with Mega to help the team out after Alpha Kabas sustained an injury. With Samardžićki accepting the offer from Buyuk Čekmeđe, 22-year-old Danilo Nikolić will be the oldest player on Megalex's roster. Igokea fired the American Jordan Rayleigh after it was confirmed he failed a drug test. The team from Aleksandrovac, Serbia hired Rayleigh in August and suspended him in October, pending the drug test results. Edi Sinadinovic left MZT. Macedonian champion parted ways with the experienced point guard after Nemanja Protic recovered from injury. Sinadinovic found a place in the Serbian league with Zdravlje Leskovac. After a string of defeats in ABA League and Euro Cup, Budućnost is finally back on track. Igor Jovovic's men weren't stunning, but did enough to beat MZT 65-55. The guests from Skopje, Macedonia, played their worst game of the season with a miserable 29% field goal percentage. They actually improved in the final quarter. Their field goal percentage was sitting at 20% during the first 3 quarters. Unexpectedly, the teams were evenly matched in the first half. Budućnost allowed their opponent to grab 14 offensive rebounds, but still managed to take the lead at the halftime. The score was 27-24. The turning point of the match was the second part of the third quarter, when Dragicevic and Rikic found good rhythm, and Budućnost extended the lead to 11 points. Unattainable for a rival who was so completely out of touch with its offensive game and posed no real threat to the league leader. Igor Jovovic used this opportunity to let the young players get some playing time. The experienced Tadija Dragicevic was the game's top scorer with 19 points. Maric and Rikic ended the game with 10 points each. Mladenovski was the visiting team's top scorer with 13 points, while Lukovic added 10. Igokea really threw us for a loop this round with an unexpected win over Crvena Zvezda 87-81 in Pionir. In doing so, after only one round, they dethroned the current champion and gave the first place in ABA League standings back to Budućnost. No signs pointed in this direction at the beginning of the game. The latest EuroLeague win gave the injury-plagued Crvena Zvezda a boost of confidence, and in the 6th minute of the game, they were already up by 14. Dejan Radonjic's men had a great start. Marko Simonovic led the way, scoring 5 out of 9 teams' 3-pointers in the first half. The visitors slowly found their offensive rhythm and after a few games with a disastrous percentage beyond the three-point line, finally managed to get some shots from long range in and cut the deficit to 7 points before the halftime break. The moment was far from ideal for Igor when Miloš Dimić was ejected after a second technical foul. Željko Lukajić never gave up on the defensive principles agreed upon before the start of the game, and his team closed off the paint and successfully defended the pick and roll, completely cutting off the host's dominant front court. Crvena Zvezda found itself in trouble when the three-pointers stopped falling in, but even then, and especially after spectacular plays by Miller, it didn't look like Igor could be victorious in Pionir. 1 minute before the end of the third period, the home team had a 9-point lead. But at that moment, the champion of Bosnia and Herzegovina made a 13-0 run, and in the 32nd minute, the visitors took the lead for the first time. 3 minutes before the end of the game, after two successful three-pointers by Jovic and Miller, the score was tied for the last time. Igor managed to win in Belgrade thanks to an 8-0 run of Vuk Radivojević, the former captain of the red and white team, who scored two consecutive three-pointers. The home team simply could not contain him. With 18 points, he was the most valuable player of the game alongside Komatina. Aleksandar Čapin scored 16 points and made a significant contribution to the fifth win of this season for Igor. With 60% field goal percentage and 10 successful three-point attempts, the team led by Željko Lukajić had only 9 turnovers. Simonovic was the top scorer for the home team, but all 17 of his points came in the first half. Jovic and Gudurić scored 12 points each in Crvena Zvezda's second home court defeat this season. At the meeting held between the EuroLeague's management and the representatives of 11 clubs, held in Barcelona and considered by many to be historical, a new competition format was established. Starting from next season, Europe's elite basketball competition is set to include 16 clubs, 11 of which will be A-licensed clubs with a guaranteed spot in the competition. In the next 10 years, the new EuroLeague, financially heavily supported by IMG, is sure to feature Real Madrid, Barcelona, Laboral Kucha, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, Anadolu Efes, Fenerbahce, CSKA Moscow, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Emporio Armani, and Žalgiris. The remaining 5 spots will be occupied by the winner of Eurocup, the winner of the qualification tournament, and champions of 3 national leagues. The question in mind of every basketball fan from the Adriatic region is whether ABA League will be among the 3 leagues with a direct ticket to EuroLeague. The president of ABA League, Dragan Bokan, expressed astonishment at the fact that FIBA's proposal had no room for clubs from former Yugoslavia and supported EuroLeague's proposal instead.
Ipak u ovom trenutku je ABA Ligi veći interes predlog Eurolige gdje ipak dobijamo signale.
At the moment, EuroLeague's proposal is more favorable for ABA League, since we've received some indications that at least one representative, the champion of ABA League, will participate in a new EuroLeague. We consider this to be a very important matter for us, and we will not give up the fight, not only for that one spot, but to try and find a way to be an important part of the EuroLeague family. We'll do our best to accomplish this at a meeting which is sure to take place in Barcelona or in our headquarters in Zagreb. We believe that the long-term plan is to form a European NBA league, so to say. We think that we could have more than one club participating in that competition. My personal opinion, and I'm not speaking on behalf of ABA League, but on my own behalf, is that a closed system has no future. His optimism about ABA League's place in the new EuroLeague was shared by the regional competition's president, Nebojša Čović. My sources and I do have good contacts with the people from EuroLeague, give me no reason to doubt that our agreement will be followed through. I'm talking about an absolute minimum concerning our ABA League, which means that the champion is automatically through. The finalist gets to play in the qualifying tournament, and the remaining 2 clubs from our playoff participating in the Euro Cup. The next meeting between the head management of EuroLeague and representatives of clubs and the management of national competitions will take place on December 2nd, and it remains to be seen whether EuroLeague's new format will be completely defined on this occasion, including the final decision on which leagues will have direct passage. j.t.d once again proved the team is on the rise. The 7th win of the season came at the expense of Olimpija. The team from Ljubljana suffered a heavy blow in Dom Sportova Hall, having scored less than 60 points for the third time in a row. Gašpar Potočnik's men were no match for the strongly favored hosts. Problems on offense were evident from the get-go, and the only player who deserved any kind of merit was Sava Lešić with 16 points. After the first period, the home team already held an 8-point advantage. Olimpija reduced the deficit to 3 at the beginning of the second period, but after a series of 7 unanswered points, j.t.d reached a double-digit lead. Halfway through the third period, hosts had an opportunity to reach a 30-point lead. Coach Veljko Mršić decided to give some of his youngest players a shot. European Championship's best cadet, Canan Musa, stood out with 10 points, as one of the 5 players on the home team scoring in double digits. Former NBA player Henry Walker introduced himself to the fans in ABA League. The American scored 10 points in 16 minutes. j.t.d's top scorers were Pulen and Bilan, with 11 points each. After the 82-58 victory, j.t.d sits at 7 wins and 3 losses, while Olimpija is in a tough spot with 4 consecutive defeats, 6 in total this season. The team from Ljubljana will try to end the negative streak in the next round, finally playing on home ground after 3 rounds on the road, where they will meet another high flyer, Megalex, in Arena Stožice. After suffering a defeat from j.t.d, Megalex managed to come back with a win against another team from Zagreb. They defeated Cibona 76-72 in Sremska Mitrovica. Visitors had a total of 23 successful three-pointers in the last 2 ABA League games and managed to score 9 more during this match. However, it took them 40 attempts to reach that number, and in addition to that, had 18 turnovers, negating the 19 offensive rebounds. With Alpha Kaba out and Predrag Samardžijski gone, coach Dejan Milojevic had limited options at the center position. The teams were evenly matched at the beginning of the game, but Mega did hold a slight advantage. But in the middle of the second quarter, Luvavo sparked the home team's 10-0 scoring run for the first double-digit lead of the game. But even though Cibona was constantly missing 3-point attempts, they somehow managed to catch up before the break. Krušlin's 2 3-pointers were enough to lower the deficit to just 3. After the break, Megalex players kept crowding the paint, deliberately giving the opponent open looks for 3. But by doing that, they managed to contain Ante Žižić, one of the best centers of the league, to just 8 points in this game. But still, at the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth quarter, the visitors managed to exploit Mega's dry run. During the last part of the game, Milovic's players couldn't score a single point for 4 minutes. The visitors took the lead in the 34th minute of the game. The home team responded with 8 unanswered points. At that time, Cibona's coach Slaven Rimac was ejected after having his bench called for a 3rd technical foul. The youngest team in the league recorded its 7th victory this season, even though they missed a lot of free throws. Most valuable players in this game were Danilo Nikolic with 20 points and 10 rebounds, and Timotej Luvavo, who scored only 1 point less. He also left his mark on the game with a spectacular dunk over James Florence. Cibona's point guard played his worst game so far. It took 18 attempts for him to score 11 points, accompanied with 5 turnovers. The best player for the defeated side was Marko Jagodić Kuriđa with 17 points and 11 rebounds. Thanks to a masterful play of Ante Delaš, Zadar triumphed over Partizan in front of 6,000 spectators in Krešimir Ćosić Hall. Final score in their 4th win in the last 5 rounds was 65-61. In a closely fought game, during the 35 minutes that he spent on the court, Delaš scored 27 points, with 100% success rate shooting for 2 and 3 successful 3-pointers out of 6 attempts. In addition to that, the best player of the round scored the last 5 points for his team, while previously assisting Marinkovic. Zadar's good run coincided with Delaš's arrival, and at this moment he is the most valuable player of the league. The home team started off well, and the visiting team couldn't score in the first 5 minutes. Partizan had problems on offense in the first period, and the hosts used that to gain a 7-point lead. Not much changed in the second period. Petar Božic's men couldn't score from the distance, adding a number of turnovers, 18 to be exact. Zadar was up 32-23 when Partizan responded with an 11-0 run and managed to get back in the game. They took the lead for the first time in a dramatic fourth quarter. Partizan was up by 6. It was 5 minutes till the final buzzer, and they were still in the lead, but couldn't score from the field, and with only 2 free throws, lost control of the game. The visitors had a couple of opportunities at the very end of the game, but they didn't have a true leader, unlike Zadar, who could completely rely on Delaš. A lot of mistakes were made on both sides, but Zadar managed to get their 5th win of the season. Delaš was undoubtedly the hero. The only player to score in double digits was Glenn Cozy with 10, but had 5 turnovers as well. Partizan's top scorer was Kevin Jones with 16 points. Vitkovac added 13, while Milutinovic scored 11 without missing a shot. Team's new point guard Jamar Wilson scored 7 points in 19 minutes, but he added 4 turnovers as well. So Partizan is still waiting for their first away win this season and shares the last place with Sutjeska with only 3 wins so far. Jan Veseli's talent was more than obvious when he made his ABA League debut as a 17-year-old with the Slovenian team Slovan. By the end of that season, he would move to Partizan, where the Czech native played for 3 more years, winning 9 trophies and reaching the EuroLeague's Final Four. In his first season wearing the black and white jersey, Vesely played only 15 minutes per game, but captured the hearts of the fans with his human highlight film moves. Partizan grabbed the regional title, eliminating Crvena Zvezda and Cibona along the way, but the dream ended with a loss to CSKA in the EuroLeague quarterfinals. Next season proved to be even better. Partizan dominated the regional competition, winning the 4th consecutive title and qualified for the Final Four in Paris, where a single defensive rebound kept the team from reaching the EuroLeague's championship game. In 2010, Vesely became a key player, scoring 10 points and grabbing 4.5 rebounds, shooting 61% for 2 points per game. All that while entertaining the crowd with unbelievable dunks. Partizan won another regional championship ring, and Vesely said goodbye to the Partizan fans with a 10th back-to-back national championship title. Washington selected him with the 6th pick at the 2011 NBA draft, but Vesely was not up to the challenge, and after 3 seasons returned to Europe. The way he played for Fenerbahce and Czech Republic's national team in the past 2 years, it seems Vesely is now ready for a final return to the NBA. Just before the opening tip-off of the 10th round of ABA League in Celje, it seemed visiting Metalac had an upper hand over the travel and injury-weary Typhoon. Even without Đorđe Majstorović in the lineup, Metalac managed to beat a red-hot Zadar team, while the home team seemed to have lost some wind following a long delayed flight to and back from Denmark, where they suffered a defeat in FIBA Europe Cup, dropping a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter. Starting center Emir Zimić missed the game due to an injury, and Sandi Čebular missed some minutes on the court after taking an elbow to his face. Unexpectedly, Typhoon entered the game with more energy than the visiting team. Metalac's players seem to have forgotten to pack their shooting skills for the trip to Slovenia and lacked focus throughout the game. Mistakes were made in the defensive rotations, leaving open looks for the Typhoon shooters, and it was only the hustle on the offensive boards that kept Metalac in the game. Ciola Clark made the best out of the opportunities provided by the visiting team's defense, nailing 3 shots in a row to give the home team the lead 23-18 at the end of the first quarter. Metalac picked up on the defensive end and in the second quarter took the lead, but missed opportunities would come back to haunt them as Typhoon ended the first half with a 39-35 lead. A key moment happened in the 3rd quarter. After fouling Sandi Čebular on a 3-point attempt, Kutlešić received a technical foul, completely destroying the visitors' morale. By the end of the third quarter, Typhoon raced to a 9-point lead. Metallic's players made a last effort at a comeback in the final period, but it was denied by Jacob Parker. The American forward scored all 8 of his points in the fourth quarter to give Typhoon a 76-63 win. A key three-pointer, his fifth of the game, was made by Ciola Clark, who scored 17 points but was overshadowed by the amazing Sandy Cebulat. MVP of the game scored 24 points, adding 9 rebounds and 5 assists. His points total would have been even more impressive had he not missed 8 out of his 14 free throws. Entering the 11th round of the season, the teams have an even 4-6 records. Just when it seemed a trip to Slovenia couldn't come at a worse time for Sutjeska, following a streak of 5 defeats, Dusan Dubljevic's team managed to beat a team that won its last 3 games in ABA League and, even plagued by injuries, managed to get a decisive win in a FIBA Euro Cup matchup. With Nemanja Vranješ out with injury, Igor Čvorović got the chance to start and made the best of that opportunity, scoring 7 out of the first 11 points for Sutjeska. In the starting 5 for the home team, Erion Kastrati replaced Stefan Sinovec, who was questionable for the game following a surgery to his teeth, and promptly scored 7 points to bring his team a 13-11 lead. However, inspired defense and a very inspired Draško Albijanić brought Sutjeska the lead at the end of the first quarter, 23-17. Even though the team from Nikšić played its best half of the season, mistakes made by the visiting team kept Krka in the game. Sutjeska was amazing beyond the 3-point line. Joko Šalić drained 2 in a row. Čalasan and Korać followed suit with 1 each, and suddenly Sutjeska was up by 11 at the end of the first half, 42-28. Great defense by Sutjeska forced plenty of missed field goals from the home team that scored the lowest number of points in any half of a game played in Novo Mesto. The visiting team reached its game-high lead of 16 points in the third quarter, but Krka cut the deficit down to 11 with 5 unanswered points. When it seemed Sutjeska was marching to an important victory, the home team held the guests without a field goal for 8 minutes in the final period. With an 11-0 scoring run, they managed to tie the game, and then a 3-pointer by Katnić gave them the lead. However, courage and heart was never a miss in the visiting team, as Pavlicevic turned out to be the hero for Sutjeska. After his first 3-pointer, he managed to avoid getting fouled. The ball finally found Spasojevic for an easy layup. After a great behind-the-back dribble, Pavlicevic scored another 3 to give his team a decisive lead. Radoslav Spasojevic was the top scorer for the winning team with 12, Šalić added 11, and Pavlicevic ended the game with 10 points, even though he missed all 8 of his free throws. Sutjeska shot 9 for 19 from the 3-point line, making up for the 19 less rebounds. Krka shot only 31% from the field, adding 9 missed free throws. Jure Lalić scored 14 points for Krka, Kastrati added 7, but all of his points came in the first 5 minutes of the game. Krka suffered the 5th loss of the season, while Sutjeska won its 3rd, at the same time ending the 5-game losing streak. The most valuable player of the 10th round is Ante Delaš, the shining star of the Zadar's triumph against Partizan. During the 35 minutes he spent on the court, Delaš scored 27 points, went 6 for 6 on 2-pointers, 3 out of 6 from the 3-point line, and added 4 assists and 3 rebounds to the tally. After a run of good performances, Delaš is currently the most valuable player in the ABA League. To start off our top 5 plays of the week, we are taking you to Sremska Mitrovica, where Đorđe Simeunović stopped this attempt by Filip Krušlin. Crvena Zvezda showed us once again how dangerous this team can be on fast breaks. Rebić for Cirbes, who goes for the dunk. Budućnost is back on top, and Bojan Subotic helped them get there with some great defense. MZT's point guard Ljubicic couldn't get past him. We're back in Pionir. Crvena Zvezda may have suffered a defeat, but the fans can find solace in Quincy Miller's excellent dunk. Timotei Luvavu is no stranger to our list, and this play will show you why. Glorious dunk over James Florence, a true showstopper that helped Mega to another victory. That's it for this week. See you again in 7 days. Stay tuned.